Yes. You want to help? Time to get started on installing these solar panels. I'm going to have a long row of them going all the way across the backyard here. And where you see these ones over here, I'm going to take that down. I'm going to be building a new holder that matches these ones. I'm planning on doing a whole new way of tying them down versus buying a regular clip. I want to let the size and weight of these guys work for me, but I'm not sure it's going to work yet because all of the sizes that I've been calculating in my mind on as far as how to do it have all just been taken off of the internet. So until I get one physically in place and make sure it's going to work out the way I want it to, then I'm not 100% sure it's going to work the way I have planned. So today I'm going to build a brand new holder kind of like that one and put it in front of that, and then I'll mount my first panel on that, but it won't tie into the new Pecrons. It'll actually tie into the old Anchor generator that I have and replace all of those ones. All of those ones are going to be folded up and decommissioned in favor of just one of these guys. Oh, and by the way, all the energy I'm going to be using, all the electricity that I'm going to be using today to build this new unit is going to come from energy stored within the brand new generators. I got some 10-foot 2x4. I'm going to make it at a slightly steeper slope than the root panels are going to be at. That'll give me a nice contrast as far as being able to tell the difference in angle on the bifacial panels between a steeper incline and a shallower incline. Back leg will be 6 foot tall and the front one will be 4 foot tall, so it'll be a little bit higher than the one that's in place right there. That 2x4 had a pretty good twist to it, so I'm going to put the majority of the twist on the shorter leg, and that way it should still line up all right. I want a framework that's going to be 8 foot by 8 foot when I'm all done, because that's the size of these panels. They're almost 8 foot long. They're 7.5 feet long. That is 10 foot by 7. I thought about just trimming that one down, but it just wouldn't work the way I wanted it to go. So this I'm going to build on the premise that it's going to be permanent, but it might not be. I might end up doing something different, but this will be at least a temporary hold for my very first panel, just to make sure that all my measurements are correct. Pre-drilled 4 holes, sank 1 screw in there, and now I can use my square to make sure that I'm nice and square before I screw in the rest of my screws. Here's my basic framework. All I need to do is string a 8 foot long 2x6 across the top here at this angle, and then that'll be it for this base part of it. Just in case you've never seen it before, I can determine exactly how square this is by measuring from this corner down to that far corner and from that corner to this corner. They should be exactly the same if it's perfectly square. So now I have 2 runners exactly 4 foot in spread. What I'm going to do is take a little 2x2 and fix it to this bottom side, and this is going to be the stop that the panels rest against. I'll screw this down into place. One thing I wanted to point out is just because lumber says 8 foot, you can't assume it's exactly 8 foot. This 2x2 is about 3/4 of an inch over 8 foot long. It's still going to look real sloppy if this is hanging over one end or the other. Did all of that work with the new Pecron, and I'm pretty impressed. In case you're unfamiliar with bifacial solar panels, the difference between this newer technology and the old school is that bifacials not only absorb solar energy from the top side, but the bottom side as well. Any light that's reflected off the bottom hits the panels and generates electricity. And that's why you're going to see this stuff here wrapped around some of this wood. The sun will hit this and bounce some of that energy right back to the bottom of the panel, and that'll help them gather a little bit more electricity throughout the course of the day. And if you're wondering why I made this 8-foot by 8-foot instead of just 4-foot, and if I expand with more solar panels, then this is what this extra bit is for additional solar panels. I'm going to apply this, and then I'm going to put the new panel in. Voila! 44 5/8. Now you see these holes right here. These are how you would normally affix these with Z brackets. You'd have a bolt that would bolt through here, and then this whole unit would rest on that Z bracket. But instead of having one or just a few places to hold onto this frame, this whole frame is going to be sitting on wood, and I'm going to affix a fastener from up above instead of buying the Z brackets. 89 5/8. My 2x2 should be just as wide as that, and it's almost perfect, and that's exactly what I was wanting, is this width of the panel to be exactly what the 2x2 is. And that's what I got. So that'll be perfect. So here's all the specs. Maximum power voltage is the key one here. 42. So when I hook these together, I'm going to have 84 volts, but the system can handle up to 150. The thing to remember when you're hooking up solar panels is when you hook them up in series, when you hook them together, the voltage adds up. When you run them in parallel, then the amperage rolls up, which is this right here, 13.3. So if I hook these up in parallel, I would be over the amperage because that is 20 amps. The system will take up to 20 amps per channel, and I'm already at 13 there. The weight, 70 pounds. The other thing is, it's almost impossible to wire these panels wrong with these MC4 connectors because they have a female and a male, and as long as you come off, when I tie these into my XT60 connectors, off of each 2-panel series, I just need to make sure I have one male and one female, or what you normally consider a positive and a negative, and I'll be good to go. That's why I decided to go with a 2-panel setup versus more, because the fewer connections you make, the better off, in my opinion. Now the problem is they're going to be going in landscape style, so I had to buy extenders that would get me clear to the end of the, in other words, the ends will be butted up lengthwise instead of the short width. You'll see once I get them up. Here's my 2 leads coming off the solar panel, female, male. Basically all this is doing is taking these 2 leads and converting it over the MC4 connection over to a single XT60. As soon as I hook this up, then I should be able to take the output from this and put it right into my anchor generator, and then we'll be able to tell the difference between what these panels, these 5 200-watt panels, are generating versus this brand new Sungold 560. Before I plug it into that, let's go in and check the reading on the anchor and see what this is generating right now. And it's not in full sun yet, it still has partial shade. This is going to be in full sun, so it's not going to be a true test, but it should give me an idea of approximately where we are on this Sungold versus the old Anchor portable solar panels. Got 145 watts. It'll just take me a minute. I'm going to flip it over to the new Sungold and see where we are. So 264. It's only 9:35 in the morning, so the sun's still at a very low angle, but I'm already generating more than 100 watts better with this 560 watt panel, single 560 watt panel, versus 1,000 watts worth of the Anchor panels. Put this Gorilla Tape down on top of the 2x2, and it's just barely contacting the lip of the solar panel. It's not going to be quite the perfect matchup like I thought. This panel is going to sit just a little bit lower. Then I got these clips here, which you can buy at any Home Depot or Lowe's, and it's going to go right over the top of this 2x2, and it's going to hang just far enough over this panel here that if the wind got underneath of there and lifted up, it would hit this metal clip. I'm not going to use the holes that are in there because they don't, they come too close to the edge of the 2x2 and it could split it. But keep in mind, what I'm going to end up with is 7 of these panels all butted end to end sitting below the 2x2 holder. So once they're all in, they're going to be extremely solid going end to end like that. Instead of having a couple, 2 or 3 clips where they're sitting up high, and when the wind catches it, it creates a point right there on the metal where the wind's working against that point. Now it's held all the way along the whole length of the panel with just a tiny little clip on top. Here is the bracket in place. I don't want it to have any possibility of it casting shadow onto the panel itself. This lifted up at all, it could only travel just a short distance before running into this clip. And I'll go ahead and cover this up with some more white duct tape so it won't stick out like that, and we'll be good to go. Here it is with all the clips installed and tape applied. Keep in mind, if and when I buy more solar panels, I'll have a smaller panel going right in front of this one. Now it's been an hour, so we're getting close to 400 watts at 10:30 in the morning. Now I know the system I designed is going to work just as well as the Z-clips. With the wind down here, I wanted to use the weight of the panel and the rigidity. When I have 7 of these all in a line, butted right up next to each other, it's going to be very solid. This is the amount of play I was talking about, the extra ½ inch. Panels are 44.5. The wood is 1.5 inches, so that's 3. It gives me 47.5. I put them 48 wide, so I have just a little bit of extra slop. If I go ahead and buy 400 watt panels, they'll be a little bit smaller in dimension. This is also going to be my canary in the coal mine, so to speak. I'll be able to see this one very easily as far as how dirty it's getting. I'll be able to easily get up and clean all of these when they're all done, and I'll be able to look right at this one and tell exactly what we're looking at as far as dust and dirt and stuff like that. So far, it's not even noon, and I'm already getting over 425 watts out of this single panel, 560 watt panel. Think about subscribing. Until next time, I'm John at the Whatever Garage. Hope to see you again soon.